Hey guys, so this episode is going to be all about weaving and color. Hey guys, thank you guys so much for being here. My name is Felicia from SweetGeorgia and this is Taking Back Friday. This is where we come every Friday and we talk about spinning and weaving and dyeing and knitting and fiber arts and mostly about how important it is to take time to make things. Now, today I'm very excited and proud to share that this week I released the first episode of what is going to be called hand woven color. I have spent the whole year getting to this point. I'm so excited. So basically, last year when we were making the school and making content for the school, I was driving for and gunning for this idea of making a course about weaving and color and sort of the intersection of weaving and color, how it works, how to get the most out of color, how color looks in weaving and how it's different from knitting, all these things that I really wanted to explore. And then when I started making the content, I started writing the course, and then I started to realize, well, maybe the people who are in the school who want to learn about color and weaving don't actually know how to weave yet. And so I had to go back to the very beginning and start at the very beginning where we created a content about, weaving for free, just to see if people might like it, to get people in the door, and then to show people how to use a frame loom, and then to show people how to set up a rigid heddle loom. That's kind of like a stepping stone. A lot of people will stick with a rigid heddle loom, and that's awesome, but the rigid heddle loom can be used as sort of like an entryway into other looms. And for me, the looms that I really love are multi-shaft looms that are floor looms, specifically floor looms. I like the efficiency of a floor loom. That's just me. It's just my preference. And so I wanted to move everybody into this space where we could be working with some kind of a multi-shaft loom, some kind of a floor loom, to be able to experience weaving with color in a much more tangible and immediate way. There's something about, throwing the shuttle and beating with a floor loom. It just feels really wonderful. So we finally made 4 courses as sort of introductory material into this new series, which is going to be called Hand Woven Color. And so then, as I started to write this course for Hand Woven Color, I realized that it's too big of a topic. It's basically like a category of topics, and that even if I were to record like a 5-hour course on this, it would not be enough to cover all of the aspects of it. And so what I thought would be better than, spending a year writing this course that would be 5 hours long. Instead, what I was going to do is I'm going to take it one step at a time, which is always it's the best policy, and basically do one exploration, make an episode about it, and then share it, and then do another exploration in color and weaving, and then make that episode and then share it. And so the way that we have our school scheduled out is basically to tackle 2 different crafts at a time. So it might be weaving and spinning, might be spinning and dyeing, might be dyeing and knitting, something like that. But there's always going to be 2 of these topics at a time. And so for half of the year, there'll be discussions about weaving. And so for this next quarter, what I'm hoping to do is have this first episode of Hand Woven Color go out. There'll be a second one, and a third one. So the second one will be about optical mixing, and the third one will be about sock blank scarves. So let me tell you about this first episode. This first episode is the episode in which we make this color gamp. So this is the color gamp. I've shown it to you guys before. This is the thing that I was weaving on at Knit City. But basically in the course, I show you how to wind the warp for it, how I set up the loom for it, how I weave it. And at the end, I also have a pattern that is downloadable. It's a downloadable PDF for the members of the school. And so you can get this pattern. And then I also described modifications if you want to use this on a rigid heddle loom, or if you want to make it narrower, to make a scarf version. So the scarf version could probably be made with one of our symphony kits that we have right now. And this particular shawl is made with 3 of those party of 5. So 3 packs of party of 5 for one shawl, or symphony kit, which is half the yardage, makes a scarf. So this is finally out and on its way. So if you guys become a member of the school right now, you can access this course content right away. So in this sort of course, we're also looking at a little bit of this, optical mixing, obviously, because, you have these colors that are mixing and overlapping, interacting with each other. And the episode is very short. It's only about half an hour. I'm trying to make it kind of like an episode of TV, like you would watch TV and just kind of consume it from beginning to end. So that's a half an hour episode. The next episode, like I mentioned, is about optical mixing. Again, this idea of like holding different colors of yarns together and having them mix and blend in your eye and what happens. And so the premise of that is actually, I am currently putting on a warp on the baby wolf loom downstairs, and that loom is going to have a gradient warp of cotton. It's 2/8 cotton, and it's kind of a gradient warp, kind of like goes into a color and out of a color. It's kind of fade in, fade out sort of look. And then it will have weft of different colors, and so these will eventually produce dish towels. So you'll have 4 or 5 different dish towels, different colors, because of the effect of optical mixing. So I was telling Leah, she was over the other day, and she was over dropping off a Christmas gift, which was the best Christmas gift ever. By the way, I just have to give her a shout out. She brought me the most wonderful Christmas gift. She told me that she understood that I could have, fiber toys and fiber tools and whatever I needed, but the one thing that I could not get more of was time. And so she brought me a frozen giant lasagna that she had made, so that I wouldn't have to take time to cook. Like, that was her gift. She gave me the gift of time. Like, literally, this lasagna is the gift of time. It was the most amazing thing. It brought a tear to my eye. I was very moved. So yes, Leah came over the other day and she saw the loom and how I was setting this thing up, and I was telling her that kind of like the secret to this universe here, my weaving loom, the baby wolf right now, is this idea of 252 ends. So in the multi-shaft weaving course that I did, I put on this project here, which is for a giant shawl that is made out of the BFL and Silk DK yarn. And so this was made with 252 ends on the warp. So 252 ends set at 10 ends per inch makes it about 25.2 inches wide in the warp. And then I used those exact same ends, 252 ends, I cut off, and then I re-tied on the next project. And the next project was this. So tying on the color gamp, also 252 ends. And so right now what I'm doing is I have reslayed all those 252 ends. They're no longer 10 ends per inch. Now they are 20 ends per inch. So I basically took 2 yarns and slipped them through one slot to make them 20 ends per inch. And now I'm tying on this cotton warp, which is, the cotton yarn is significantly finer. It's like lace weight, heavy lace weight basically in knitting terms. And so this is going to be 20 ends per inch, and I'm going to pull this through. And so 252 ends at 20 ends per inch makes it about 12.5 inches wide. So the dish towels will be about 12.5 inches wide, and like so. So my whole secret right now to trying to save time is to continue tying on to old warps over and over and over again, as many times as I can, as many projects as I can devise with this sort of 252 combination. I think I might be reaching the end of my rope, and I might have to actually thread the loom for the next project. But in this case, I'm trying to use what I have set up as many times as possible to just get as much longevity out of this particular threading as I can. So that is it for what is going up on the school. Now over here, the project that I started at the very beginning of the year is the Epic Cloth project, and we have weaving. It's actually working. It's actually working. So what I did was, last time I mentioned about how all of the warp threads were too far apart. I set it at originally 30 ends per inch and it was just too wide. And so what I did was I took an afternoon and I reslaid again, reslaying it from 3 ends per dent to 4 ends per dent. So now it is 40 ends per inch. And I picked a color. You know, I was auditioning weft colors before, and some were too light and some were too dark, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to have to re-dye anything. And so I did. I went to the studio and I got some merino silk lace, which is 50% merino yarn and 50% silk yarn, and I got it in lupine. So it's kind of like that in-between middle color. I wanted something that was kind of purpley, kind of bluey, somewhere in the middle, not too light, not too dark, to just kind of pull all of this together, and it's working. So I'm very, very excited about that. Now, I know that there is a little bit of a challenge here because the warp is cotton and the weft here is 50% merino. So if I wash this, it's likely it will shrink a little bit. I'm curious to see how that's all going to work. Since this is originally destined to be sort of stretched over like canvas frames, you know, like a frame, stretcher frames. It's meant to be like stretched over frames like a canvas would be. I don't necessarily need to wash it, but I'm just curious about washing it and how that might feel at the end of the day, you know, what this cloth might feel like. But in any case, the epic cloth project is happening. And like I said, you know, I'm going to also plan for another epic cloth project moving forward for 2020 as well. I really enjoy this breakdown of, you know, taking a big idea and breaking it down into smaller and smaller steps. And I'm really excited that before the end of this year, this will come off the loom and it's going to be so cool. So that is it for today's episode. So if you guys are interested in either the handwoven color course or you're interested in doing the epic cloth project, all of these things are available in the school right now. One of the things that I can suggest for you is that we actually, this past fall, we built out a function to allow you to gift a membership to a friend or a family member for the school. So you can actually gift someone either a 1 month access or 3 months of access or 1 year of access. And so you can find that at the School of Sweet Georgia. You go to schoolofsweetgeorgia.com/shop, and then those membership options will be available, and then you can choose to send either of those as a gift to someone. You can schedule delivery, you can do all those things, and it's all handled digitally basically over email. So yeah, if you want to bring a friend into the school, if you are a member and you're thinking, oh, they might enjoy, you know, 3 months of access or a year of access, you can actually do that now. So thank you guys so much for being with us this year. I know many new members joined the school this past November through our Black Friday promotion, and so welcome to you guys as well. I'm really looking forward to spending more time in the school with you guys in 2020 and working on many more projects. Thank you guys so much. So if you like this episode, please do hit the like button, and if you'd like to see more content like this, please do hit subscribe. We come here every Friday and we talk about knitting and weaving and spinning and dyeing and fiber arts and all of these wonderful things. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye for now.